Hello, everyone. My name is Maggie Green, and for this presentation, I will be covering effective praise. So the first, I just want to start with what is effective praise because I know many of us have heard of it, but maybe aren't so familiar with what it actually is. So I kind of want to just break it down and explain what effective praise is and why we should be wanting to learn more about it. I think it's something that society is now thinking is a really effective thing, and I think it's something we should all learn and expand our knowledge on because I think it does have its pros and its cons, and we'll kind of discuss that later on in the presentation, but I think it's something that we should all learn. So let's just start with the big question: what is effective praise? So by definition, the internet tells us that effective praise is genuine, thoughtful encouragement that is intended to build a child's intrinsic motivation. It praises the effort or process instead of the result and is not achievement based. Now, this is kind of a lot of wordy and a lot of big words, but I think overall effective praise is just how you are going to encourage your children, whether they are your own kids or your students, and how you will do this in a way that will encourage them, but not have them continuously looking for praise. You want your children to feel confident and you want to be able to encourage them, but you don't want that to be all that they're trying to do, if that makes sense. You don't want them to be so obsessed with getting praise from you that they forget about just doing it for themselves and feeling accomplished in the way that they're handling a situation or an accomplishment. So that's kind of like our baseline definition. So now I'm going to kind of break it up into two separate things here, like effective praise in the classroom. Because effective praise in the classroom is something that a lot of teachers are starting to strive to do, and I think it's awesome. And we're going to kind of break it down and to see how they do it, and then just some examples of that. So here we go. Okay, so let's start with just why should we do or have effective praise in the classroom? So working hard and overcoming setbacks and conquering hurdles all contribute to a child's development of self-worth. In today's society, I think we can see this a lot. Effective praise is affecting our children, or not, sorry, not effective praise. Just this idea of being perfect. And I think our children are struggling with that now with social media. I think social media affects how our children feel and the way that their confidence levels, they see other people and see their accomplishments and kind of compare it to their own, which is really difficult, and it's hard to get that out of your children's mind because once they see something, they're going to want to continue to strive for that, and that's good. It's important that our kids have goals, but it's also important that we are proud and tell them of their accomplishments, even if they're small steps, because I'm a firm believer that sometimes small steps are even better than the big steps. I think you have to have small steps to get to bigger things. So I think having effective praise and complimenting your children on small things will help their self-worth and will kind of make them realize that sometimes it's not about all about the big praise. Sometimes it's just getting a small compliment that kind of just makes your day. I've always been told that sometimes the little compliments and little things are almost better than the big things, and almost better than the bigger compliments, if that makes sense. So it's also important that children have the chance to develop a really realistic picture of their strengths and faults when they receive sincere appreciation. So this kind of just hits back at what I was saying about how we want to encourage our students and our kids, but we don't want to do it in a way that makes them think that they are just this perfect human being, because we know that that's not true. But everybody has faults and everybody has mistakes, and we also need to compliment them on their mistakes, because I think it's important to just remind them that it is okay to mess up and mistakes are good. You want to say that you can mess up and still overcome that mistake, if that makes sense. It's also just important that children need to be valued honestly if they are to feel strong, confident, and independent. So we want our kids to feel like what they are doing is from our actual heart. We don't want them to think it's just a compliment out of nowhere, if that makes sense. It wants to be a compliment that's real and true and honest. Children who are used to receiving constant praise may become anxious about their skills, fearful of failing, reluctant to try new things, and just not be able to handle setbacks in the future. And I think that hits it. Some of the things that I've already talked about, how it's important that if we're going to encourage our children, it needs to be, yes, encouraging, but we don't want to do it in a way that feels fake or feels like a facade. We want our children to know that these accomplishments are big or small, and that it's good, but also we don't want to push the praise so much that the children start to question if they do something and they don't get praise, it's not right. Excuse me while I get a drink. But we just want our children to know that they're doing well. But sometimes I think that, and we see this a lot, I think also as I'm an athlete, I see this a lot in sports, that sometimes you get these praise, and then when you stop receiving the praise, you think you're not doing good. But that's just kind of this false accusation that's out there that I think sometimes we fall into. But it's important that you know that just because like you're not getting praise doesn't mean you're not doing well. I think I'm always motivated by just continuing to push and just knowing that it's okay. Like, if you're not always getting a compliment, if you're not always being told you're doing well, do well without, have integrity, do well without wanting praise or anything from it. And I think we can teach our kids that if we give praise every so often, but not push for it every single time that they do something right. Because it'll make it a harder struggle for when they are out in the real world and expect praise for every little thing they do. Instead of praising a child for what they actually accomplish, effective praise emphasizes their effort. I think this is a really big one because I think it's important that we acknowledge the effort the kid is putting in to actually accomplishing something. Yes, it's important to praise them for the little things, but praise them for the big things a lot. I think when we see a child really trying and really working hard, it makes it worthwhile to us that we can see that they're maturing and that they're able to handle things at a different rate and a different way than anyone else. It also promotes ongoing learning and lessens competitiveness among students when teachers offer sincere, spontaneous, and well-deserved praise. So I think when we see children getting praise for like real authentic things, I think that can actually kind of take away the competitiveness, because if we're just praising them for finishing first, that's all the kids are going to work for. They're not going to work for good work that's turned in with no mistakes, if that makes sense. So I think that's something important also to look at. So next we're going to kind of just look at some examples of how you could use this in your classroom. So commutative constructive observations. So what that is, like an example of that may be like you listened without interrupting. That would be a perfect example for kind of just complimenting the child on doing something good, but explaining what they're actually doing well. Because sometimes a kid may not understand what they're doing well and like why you might consider that an accomplishment. Also, acknowledge a child's specific behavior rather than commenting on his or her character. And an example of that may be, since you have been doing all your math homework, you have brought up your grade, rather than saying you are such a good student. I think throughout exploring this topic and throughout this class this past semester, I've just learned that, not this past semester, but this last 8 weeks, I've learned that it's important that we are complimenting and looking deeper into our students and deeper into their personalities and what they actually have to offer, rather than just what's on the surface. Excuse me. Because I think sometimes if we're just complimenting on the surface, our students are going to think that that's all it needs to be. Just also like encourage positive character traits in students by naming them. I appreciate each of you for being quiet while I talked to Mrs. Jones. You were being respectful Acknowledge independent thought and creativity. That's an interesting idea. Tell me more. And reinforce problem-solving skills by saying things like, as a group, you decided who would be responsible for each part of the project. Little things like that will just remind the students of where they need to be and what's going on and how to praise them in a way that also just works toward making them better. Effective praise at home is going to be our next topic here. So, why should you have effective praise at home? Your child's self-esteem and confidence are developed by praise, and we kind of talked about that with our kids at home, and I just think, sorry about that, you all. I had a little bit of a coughing attack. So your child's self-esteem and confidence are developed by praise, and I kind of mentioned that earlier on about when you have them in the classroom as well, but descriptive praise helps in your child's comprehension of their accomplishment. It is more sincere than general compliments. So these are kind of hitting on the same things that we just previously talked about, how you want these compliments to come from below the surface things, not just, you turned in your paper and you got 100. It wants to be something like, your sentence and your grammar was much better on this paper than your last one. So really hitting compliments like that. Praise and motivation may function more effectively with rewards, and we've kind of seen this in the ways that you reward your student can be beneficial. We don't want rewards to be the only thing, but it can help. And then kind of to hit off that, therefore, the likelihood of the behavior occurring again increases when you promote or praise your child's behavior before rewarding it. So, just encourage your students. And if that means having rewards, then do it, but don't make it the centerpiece. Children are more inclined to repeat actions that get positive reinforcement or praise. And this is true. They're going to continue to want to do the good things for you. Now, don't make it their only goal, but, you're going to see that positive vibe and reinforcement if that's what you're giving them. You may modify challenging behavior and switch it out for desirable behavior by using encouragement and praise. Some kids require more encouragement than others, especially those who lack confidence compared to other kids. Children are more likely to view striving hard as a positive trait when praise is given for effort. So it's important that we center more in on those students that we know lack confidence. I think it's hard, like I said, in society and in the at home when you have siblings, when you have other little competitors, to always. And I also think it's important that we acknowledge all of our children. I think sometimes we center around one if we have one that's better than the other, but it's important that all of our children feel like they're being heard and they have a voice in the home and also at school too. Additionally, they will have a greater tendency for perseverance and optimism in the face of adversity, and that kind of just goes to looking at their future and ensuring that what we're doing at home is going to make them good teammates and, just parents as they grow also. So some tips and examples for this, maybe a younger child may receive praise for sharing or leaving the park when asked. Teenagers might be praised for following the set schedule for returning home. And also, too, just watch for small successes and changes. Praise any attempts or development rather than waiting until your child has completed something perfect. And there's some other examples there. We're kind of running close to time, but it's just important that we look again below the surface. We want those genuine compliments. And then, is effective praise bad? I had a video here. I don't think it's going to play, and we're going to actually run out of time here soon, but it's a great video. You should look at it. It kind of talks about if effective praise is bad and should it be something that we should look into. And this woman right here hits on it perfect. Pamela does a great job of explaining if you ever saw effective praise be a bad thing, why would it be bad and what makes it bad?
Many parents...
We're actually not going to, have time to watch that. I'm just going to skip through that. And then here's just some more examples and how to. I've kind of discussed a lot of these, but both of these photos just break it down flawlessly of how we should be praising in an effective way and an ineffective way and what that looks like and how to see the difference when you do it yourself. And then I also had another video here about just how to praise and encourage your kids. And this video breaks it down awesome, showing you ways to do it and just how to do it at home, and a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. I really like this video. And then here are all my lovely citations. I'm so sorry about that. It was so great getting to